Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. I think we're in a little bit of a position here. The last battle was really good for us, it boosted my personal morale, but I don't think that we can take on Snidebograf's stack as it is. We know he has at least 3 units of Night Goblin Archers and at least 7 units of Biggins, and we just don't have the ability to stand against 7 units of Biggins with only 3 units of real warriors on our side, and honestly, if we can just fall back until this upgrade is completed, and then until we get the Siege Workshop built, we're going to have such a huge advantage. The first couple of catapults are really going to turn the tide of this war. So I think we have to fall back. The other reason I think we have to fall back is that we have a serious public order problem, and we only have a couple of turns before a rebellion spawns outside the capital, and we either need to be over here to handle that, or we need to, at the very least, move our army back into one of the cities in the province so that we can force public order up and maybe prevent the rebellion altogether. So, with those things in mind, let's go ahead and use up the rest of our movement. No sense not being close to our cities. And then, before we head out, or before we hit the end turn button and move on to the next turn, one more thing we should probably do. So this is the diplomacy window. Here you can see all of the other factions in the world that we've met, along with their current strength rank. Obviously, strength rank 1 being the most powerful faction, and I'm assuming somewhere in the 120s being the weakest, which means we're not in a great place, 94. You can also see the number of settlements that they have, what our current treaty status with them. We have no defensive pacts or alliances or anything with anybody, and no trade contracts. And then finally, their attitude toward us. And if we mouse over, you can see all of the things that are creating that attitude. The factions that like us here mostly like us because we're at war with the Red Eye. The factions that don't like us are, well, first of all, the Red Eye, negative 198. And then, of course, you know, greenskins and dwarves generally just don't get along. Vampires and dwarves generally just don't get along. No big surprises here. What we should do, though, while we have some friendly people around, is we should make treaties with them. We don't need a non-aggression pact with the dwarves. It's not like the dwarves are going to attack us. But every positive treaty that you have with a nation increases that nation's opinion of you. So we can get a non-aggression pact. We might even be able to get military access here. Awesome. And you can see now we have an additional 25-point treaties with dwarves modifier. It takes time for people's opinions of you to change in Total War Warhammer, so you can see their current value is still 53 positive, trending toward that 89 that is the actual summation of all of the factors. So we want to make treaties with as many people as we can, because it will make it easier for us to get better treaties, including trade contracts, with them in the future.
Come in peace.
Agreed. Sigma's welcome, ancient allies. In these troubled times, dwarfs are a fine sight to behold. A fool's action.
Ah, okay. Huh. He said an agreement to let us drink dwarfish brew to celebrate, but what he meant was no, absolutely not. I think the military access was pushing it there, but we can definitely get this non-aggression pact.
On it.
Okay, so now both of those nations have 15 additional regard for us, which will work out well if we manage to make it over to them to trade with them while they still exist and before they've been eaten by Northmen and vampires and whatnot. It's also worth noting that these two nations will now be receiving a small positive reputation modifier with each other due to having a common ally. Ostermark sees that Talabecland likes somebody that they like, and so they like Talabecland a little bit more. And so it's possible that by making friends with all these people, we can help the whole region kind of stick together. Once you get into like a web of mutual friendships and defensive alliances, you tend to form power blocks. And that kind of thing is going to be important if we're going to survive some of the stuff that's going to happen later in the game. Sorry, if I want the AI to survive some of the stuff that's going to happen later in the game. Okay, and with that, I think we are good. We do have the Oath Gold necessary to forge some items. I'm still a little wary of spending any. We are coming across it pretty quickly, though. And we have a couple of grudges banked, both of which will give 30... Oh, well, okay, they'll give some, not both 30, but... Maybe we should go ahead and just, like, make a weapon. Yeah, I have a shield already. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's make ourselves a nice basic weapon. So, Bonus versus large is not great against orcs. Melee defense and expert charge defense are... Expert charge defense I don't think is super relevant here. So we could get, really, what I'm looking at here is armor-piercing damage and bonus versus infantry versus 12% weapon strength. Our weapon strength with this dude is 430, and I assume, although I don't actually know this to be the case, I assume that it increases each of these categories by 12%, and that it doesn't, like, lump all of the extra damage into normal weapon damage or anything. So in that being the case, I think we're better off just taking the big weapon strength boost. This is not the right button. There we go. Yeah, I think the Ranger's Hammer is the way to go.
I am the Slayer King.
Alright, so let's put that on. Okay. I don't exactly know what's going to happen with these guys. I would expect that they're going to start recruiting a new army pretty soon. And if they want to pursue us into our territory, probably the safest thing to do is going to be to hole up in Nashrak's lair. Manfred von Karstein is crushing Tempelhof's armies. Not actually taking his territory yet, though, which is good for us. Every turn that the vampires don't take Eschen is another turn that we don't have to worry about them. You probably put this on fast forward. So the fast forward button here doesn't actually make this stuff happen any faster. It just means that if something happens within our vision, the armies moving around on the map will move faster, basically. All right, so the Empire provinces are already starting to go at each other's throats. That happens, you know. There's always a lot of infighting over there. In theory, the faction that is just called the Empire, sort of the core human faction, should be able to, due to the squabbling, should be able to take each of the smaller factions over one by one. That's what you do as the Empire when you're playing them. The AI Empire doesn't always do such a good job, unfortunately. So it looks like one of their heroes attempted to the block army action lowers the available movement of the targeted army. He failed to perform this on us. Yep, so they're still actively harassing us. I don't think they have any intention of letting us go. It would be really cool if Kislev would come through and hit them in the back, maybe.
I must fulfill my Slayer oath.
Alright, I think we're going to normal move into Nashrak's lair here.
I grow restless.
You can see the presence of our army is giving us 6 extra points of public order, as well as, of course, making us replenish much quicker. So that'll be enough to ward off the rebellion for the moment. It's going to get ugly, though. Alright, next turn we get to build our siege workshop. We will have just enough money to do so. And then we're going to have to try to get the money together to actually build the siege engines. But I think for right now, this is all we can really afford to do. We'll see what happens with the army coming down from Khazad-Urkulaz. I don't want to recruit anything. Because if we recruit anything, we're just going to slow down our move towards siege engines. And I'm telling you, these catapults are going to make a big, big difference. Once we have catapults, we are going to, it's no longer going to be such a big problem that all of our units are so slow, because we're going to be able to set our catapults up as far away from the enemy as possible, and then just have the rest of our units sit near the catapults while we fling giant rocks. And obviously, in order to do something about this, in order to prevent their whole army from being crushed, the enemies are going to have to actually come to us, and hopefully we'll have lots and lots of time to do damage to them while they are approaching. That's definitely one of the weaknesses of this big and heavy strategy, is that it makes the armies pretty slow. Greenskins do have access to faster cavalry units that could give us a little bit of trouble, but it doesn't look like the Red Eye have any of those structures. They don't really have a lot of space to build in, so we're probably not going to see very diverse forces from them. As you are probably getting a sense of from watching the way our army is developing, it really does take quite a number of available building slots to create an army that has lots of different types of units in it. Oh, Talbotland and Ostermark made peace. That's good for us. Dwarf maidens emigrate. The Kvin population of the Hold have denounced the quality of male stock from which to choose a husband. As a result, the majority of maidens have left in search of fresh beards. It's not that big a deal. I was going to say negative growth is not great for us, but minus 10 isn't that bad. Alright, population growth is down a little bit. I don't think it's a problem. Let's get grudge throwers going. So this is going to be 2 turns to build, and then it's probably only going to be 1 turn to recruit them. Provided we have the money. What's the recruit cost on these? It actually doesn't say. Okay, well, get it going. Here's the other question. Like, do we want to remove the growth building entirely now? You don't get nearly as much back, as much of a percentage back of the cost that you paid when removing upgraded buildings. So I'd like to not do that, but I want to make sure I have the money to get some siege engines as soon as they're available. Which one of our grudges has a large cash payout? Just win 2 more battles against greenskins. Well, unfortunately, that's actually not going to be super easy for us to do. Nothing much to do for right now, though, except wait. How long until we get our Rune Master back? Oh, next turn. Okay, cool. That's going to help a lot, actually. Alright. The von Karsteins are using their agents to attack the tiny town of Eschen, try to weaken the garrison before taking it, which seems like a very silly maneuver to me. Kind of a huge waste of time. To be fair, we don't know what's going on Manfred's other borders. It may be that a lot of his armies are being tied up by other people. Actually, we can probably see his southern border. I can't move the camera right now, but when it's our turn again, we should take a peek. See if we can't get a good sense of exactly what's going on down there. So you can see this this blue here on our map. This is the core dwarf faction. Looks like they have the entire Silver Road province, maybe, which is good for us. There's a lot of bloody spears down in the Rib Peaks. It would be really, really cool if we could get this red-eye nonsense taken care of, so that we could push down south and make contact and actually start trading with our cousins. They probably have some pretty good trade goods down there. And I believe that for the purposes of crafting, you have access to anything you're getting via trade, not just stuff that you are bringing in yourself. Okay, so we got our Dwarven diplomats technology. Turns out we didn't even really need the extra diplomatic points, although...
The dwarves have come. I hope they brought us.
See if we can maybe get any additional
Ancient
treaties going here.
allies. In these troubled times, dwarves are a fine
We could try to make an alliance. A defensive alliance just means that if they get declared on, we are forced to declare war on whoever attacked them or break the alliance, which has some serious diplomatic consequences. Defensive alliances are usually a pretty good thing, but I really don't know enough about Ostermark's position to feel comfortable making one. Okay, Oakenhammer fell to the vampires, actually. This used to be Jufbar's. Looks like the dwarves are... Okay. The dwarves are having trouble taking territory from the Bloody Spears. We gotta get down here and help with this. But the fact that the vampires hold Oakenhammer does give us some idea of why they haven't killed off Tempelhof yet. Okay, so we got our
The forge fire's glowing.
got our guy back. Let's just merge him into the army. Yeah. An extra hero in the army increases the military presence thing, but... Oh, no, it doesn't. That's right. This was +2, wasn't it? But the military presence bonus is still only showing 6. Huh. Alright, so next turn we're going to have access to siege weapons. I don't think we're going to have enough to immediately try to recruit 2, but we could probably get 1. And for now, I think we need to stay put. Alright, so we can't... Kislev is the real reason that I wanted Dwarven diplomats, because Kislev is going to be less friendly to us than the other human nations have been, because that's just kind of who they are. They are less friendly. But it's looking to me more and more like we're not actually going to make contact with Kislev anytime soon, so maybe we should head toward the public order bonuses, because we've got to get these rebellions under control. As it is, I feel like we basically can't leave. It's not a good place to be. And we now have no idea what's going on up in Khazad-Urkalauz. We could probably afford to detach our Rune Master and send him north as a scout. I'm a little bit worried about him getting picked off by that goblin assassin again, though. Well, our corner of the world seems to be pretty quiet, except for the, massive, existentially threatening war that we are currently in. There's a lot of stuff happening out there. A lot of people are currently dying, but none of it's happening within our vision, so I guess it doesn't matter? Anything that I'm not personally aware of may as well not be happening, right? That's how we should treat the real world. Let's see, they are running their guy south. We could try to grab him with our agent. Is he going to try to sabotage the settlement, or... Nope, he's just running over here to have a look at us. I mean, intel's important, right? We should try to wound him if we can, but I'm certainly not going to take an attempt at wounding him over hiring a catapult. So we'll see how the gold works out. We're still in a pretty bad place economy-wise, and a lot of that is because we cannot yet establish trade. Okay, Ungrim Iron Fist has gained the strict trait by spending multiple turns in a settlement with low public order. That's good. That's a good thing for him to have at this point. We really, really need that.
I am the Slayer King.
Okay, so let's grab... Oh, catapults are actually remarkably cheap. Yeah, I think let's try to pull in 2 catapults. I care about this way more than I care about that wound attempt. Out of curiosity, what would it cost? I think it was like 400 something last time? 481? Okay. Odds are very slightly positive. Alright, once we have a couple of catapults, I think our ability to take on his armies is going to be pretty sharply increased. The fact that he's out here scouting us, though, does make me think that maybe he thinks it's time to come forward. And if he moves forward, and then our turn starts, our catapults finish recruiting, and we get to move on him, that's probably our best case scenario. I believe it is the case that these agents can't see units that are currently being recruited, so he doesn't know we're getting catapults. Now, that said, I don't know if the AI really even considers your army composition very much. It might not even matter that we're recruiting catapults. He might not make any different moves. But until I know otherwise, let's try to assume that the AI is making reasonable decisions. Until we know for a fact that that is not true. Somewhere out in the world there's a bunch of beastmen herds. That is a problem I do not even want to think about right now. Tempelhof getting weirdly aggressive. If I were him, I would leave my army in Waldenhof until it was built up to full. If he runs a half a stack forward like that, it's just going to get mulched. And unfortunately, vampire armies can draw up the dead from the ground for free, and they do a better job of that in places where more people have been killed, so it's actually pretty bad for us that the Tempelhof are just feeding Manfred all these kills.
I must fulfill my Slayer oath.
Alright, our force is looking tougher. A lot tougher. Let's see, we could grab a couple more units of Dwarf Warriors to help us hold against the Biggins. Any place where we have to engage Slayers versus Biggins front to front is bad for us because the Slayers will just take, or the Biggins will just take the Slayers apart due to their lack of armor.
Aye, but the axe of Dargo demands blood.
So I don't want to pick up a Bolt Thrower, I don't think. Bolt Throwers are pretty weak against non-large units. They're really, really good at killing big, armored, scary monsters. But as long as we're just fighting normal orcs. I might even want to... Do I want to pick up another unit of catapults right now and then pick up more Dwarf Warriors next turn, maybe? We kind of want to stay put for a moment anyway while we're building up because we're currently the source of positive public order in this area. As soon as we leave, it's going to get a little bit uglier.
Yes,
yeah, alright.
my oath
Three
is intact.
Grudge Thrower units might be too many. And next turn we actually won't have the money to recruit a pair of Dwarf Warrior units. Now, let's stick with the 2 and just get more bodies.
Satisfied with this.
We can't sit back here and build up forever. I should mention, you probably assumed this, having played strategy games before, but if you're not aware, generally speaking, when you're on higher difficulties, the way that is implemented in these games is that the AI get a bunch of free resources and stuff. So it is the case that even though the Red Eye and I have nearly identical terrain, each of us has a province that has 2 settlements in it. They have way, way, way more money than we do, which means they can afford to run multiple stacks. So sitting back and building up actually does let them accumulate advantage faster than we accumulate advantage. However, of course, we have the advantage of being a human player who can think and adapt to stuff. Never discount that. It's a big deal. We just got to do more with less. So our stack is not quite going to be full size, but we're going to be pretty close to our upkeep limit. I don't think we can afford to hire very many more units. So it is probably time to head out. Guess we'll see how reasonable it is to try to wound this guy first. We do have the money. A shameful display. A close ally of ours, an influential Dawi sitting on several guild councils, has shamed his family name with a craven act. He should, by all accounts, take the Slayer Oath and go into exile, but we will lose his influence. What's the actual debuff here? Okay, obviously we can't do that. So we are not going to forbid him from taking the oath. Why, that would be against the norms of our society. We cannot overlook a loss of honor. As an ally, it reflects on us too. -10 diplomatic relations with the dwarves. For a while, this will fade over time. Is not really a big penalty, especially since we've already made friends. Okay, so 17 units, a much better mix of guys. At some point, obviously, we want to level this up so that we can hire more Thunderers, because Thunderers are very powerful. But for right now, I think we gotta think about moving up here.
It's a dying battle.
All right, let's see if we can get rid of this hero. Not only will this deprive them information about our movements, but also it would make their army a little bit weaker because he won't be showing up to battle. Okay, we got him. So this is just like when they did it to us. He'll be gone for, 4 turns. But we've acquired a Choir Master during that mission. That's a... Boy, I'd like to hear the story of exactly what occurred there that caused you to gain a Choir Master. But now he is providing +1 public order in his province, so that's handy. And that's almost got us Rune of Wrath and Ruin. I'm very excited about that prospect.
What?
Alright, let's see what we can see. Okay. What we can see is that they are actually, they are definitely coming for us. It's Ornery Backslider. He's back. And he's got an army that is quite large.
I grow restless.
I'm going to try to ambush him, I think. Here's the problem. That mission completely used up all of our hero's movement. So our hero can't rejoin our army, which means we don't get to take him into battle, which means we are actually a little short-handed. However, we have the grudge throwers, and if we can get a superior position on these guys, rush their archers and take them out quickly, that might be good enough to make this work in our favor. So I got to decide here. Do I want to back up into the settlement for maximum safety, or do I want to go into ambush mode here and try to see if we can bait them out? They are taking attrition damage from sitting in the mountain pass. We don't really see that damage reflected yet, but I think it'll happen at the beginning of their turn. So they won't be running at full strength anyway. Yeah, but I kind of want my Runesmith available for the battle. I'm just going to fall back. Plus, this gives us another turn of public order bonus. Maybe this is a little too cautious, but man, it would be real bad to lose a battle with their army this close to what would then be our completely unprotected economy. And you can see we're making almost no money now, so there will be no more hiring. Now that they've lost their scout, that might influence their moves. I think it's pretty obvious that this army was coming forward. Eschen is fallen, Waldenhof is under siege, and that means that we're going to have to worry about Manfred von Karstein, like, really soon. Right as it looks like we might actually gain an upper hand against the Red Eye again. That's real bad for us. That's extremely bad timing. And unfortunately, like, there's no way we can hope that the Empire provinces would be able to stand up to him. We just have to hope that he's more distracted by things out here to his west than he is by us or these other Empire provinces nearby. Okay, yeah, they're coming for us. So they've run out of their territory. They're in raiding camp mode. Although, strangely, they're not getting anything out of it. But now we get to go into battle with our runesmith and everything. Them being in raiding camp mode does mean that they get some buffs, remember. 5 melee defense and 5 leadership. It's not great. I finished a tech that isn't actually important, but is on our way to the techs that are important. And storm clouds gather in the north. There are rumors that the barbarous tribes residing in the shadow of chaos have ceased striving against each other for the attention of the dark gods, and instead are banding together. Suckling at the teat of chaos, that is extremely gross. The hordes grow in strength. It seems only a matter of time before the dam breaks and a tide of ruin bursts forth to engulf the old world, corrupting or destroying all in its path. Marshal your strength, nurture the sinews of war, build your walls high, gather warriors to your banner and temper them in the crucible of battle, so that when the time comes you may yet weather the storm. Boy oh boy, are we not ready for a massive invasion of chaos from the north. Alright, and we have to defeat this guy in battle because he's raiding us. It will give us 500 gold and some oath gold, and of course another victory toward our other grudge. So let's make it happen. There we go. Actually managed to select my hero here. Join up, and it is time. 17 units versus 17 units.
Yes.
We have siege weapons and they don't. We have heroes and we have a hero and they don't. I think this is going to be in our favor. He is currently stealing all of my income. I think we can do this. I sure hope we can do this.
Drain them.
This really, really has to work. Alright, let's have at him. It is 8, 9, okay. It is 9 units of biggins. Ugh. They're slow, right? Speed 31? Yeah, okay. At least we get to shoot the catapults at them a lot. I don't think this is good for us. We don't have nearly as many... I need another stack, honestly. What I need to do is get enough money going to get a second stack going, a second army, so that we can have some reinforcements. We can bring more units to the battle than they can. But for right now, we're going to have to try to make do here. Here's hoping that these catapults are sufficient, capable of the task at hand. So we're going to settle as far back as possible. Or settle. We're going to start up as far back as possible. I guess, actually, we have to defeat them, right? I'm attacking. So maybe not as far back as possible. Let's try to set up as far back as possible while keeping them in our initial firing arc. Like so. And then we will set up the Quarrelers and the Thunderers, like this. The reason we don't want to put our melee troops in front of our ranged is that if your melee is in front of your ranged, then as the enemy approaches, their ranged will be able to shoot at your melee before your ranged are able to shoot at their ranged. So we want to make sure our melee, or our ranged are as close as possible without being exposed. Dwarf warriors get to take the brunt of the initial hit here. Alright, good luck, us.
My doom approaches.
So the catapults need to be shooting pretty much at the middle. Obviously, it's important that we kill as many biggins as possible as well. So it might be the case that we want to aim everything here. Catapults do not have perfect accuracy. They're a difficult weapon to use, even under the best of circumstances. So we do want to aim sort of center so that if our shots deviate, we're still hitting the right stuff. Although those guys are not in the initial firing arc. Never mind. Let's take the first shot. Oh, this unit dead center is biggins. Okay, that seems really good. Of course, we can't see the night goblins at this range. I would prefer to kill the night goblins first, but not an option that's available to us. So let's see if these catapults can actually get the job done. Come on, guys. Come on. You can see them trying to avoid it. Not bad. Not a bad first volley. Artillery fire does way more morale damage than most forms of damage do. It's really unpleasant to be shot at by catapults. So hopefully we can mess their army up pretty badly on the approach here. The more units of biggins we can weaken before they hit us, the better. Although it looks like it's really just going to be the one. Keep an eye on the firing arcs of our other units as well. So you can see the color represents where in their reload fire cycle they are. White is currently reloading. When are those night goblins going to become visible? Alright, we have the first range shots going out. We don't need to move people forward yet. Okay, here we are. You are on Night Goblin Archer duty. Delete these units. We cannot be having people get poisoned all the time if we're going to survive this. Alright, so boys, biggins, and is it the same on the other side? No, this side's... Okay, this side there are boys, but they're on the inside. We want to try to meet their biggins with our warriors as much as possible. I don't think we need to move forward just yet, although actually on this side we can move forward a little bit earlier than on the other side, because obviously over here we have to be careful not to block the firing line. I think we can step up like this now. And actually, since the Thunderers are firing this way mostly, we can probably step up this way too. Where is their lord? He's staying way in the back. He's, of course, a shaman, as he has been on all the other occasions. I probably don't need to actually say that. He's going to try not to commit himself to battle early, and we're just going to have to, you know, do it. We're just going to have to get in there on him. So, do I want to change the catapult targeting? That unit's pretty messed up. We should probably pick another unit of biggins to hit. Yeah, let's go here. At some point, they're going to get inside the firing arc. Oh, no, I guess minimum range on these is actually quite short. Never mind. We'll be fine. Wasn't expecting you guys to have to move quite so much. It kind of seems like they're running in. Stop moving. Start shooting. Yeah, I don't like them being this far forward. Yeah, back up. Like, I don't know why they ran forward like that. They had an open shot. They're in fire at will mode. Hold their position, will not pursue disengaged targets. You know what? Actually, we should turn on guard mode for all of our range stuff. Do not move unless you are explicitly ordered to move. Okay. Let's make sure that we're... Yep, okay, this side's actually approaching much more slowly. You start firing that way, you guys keep working on that. And I'm going to try to... No, we should probably keep trying to work the catapults on the biggins as much as possible. Get some morale damage done, get some... Actually, you know what? You guys can both keep firing at that unit of biggins, what with it being in the middle of all of these archers. Obviously, the catapult shots do pretty good area damage. I'm going to move these warriors out a little bit, move some slayers up because of the fact that the weakest unit is on the inside on this side. And I think I'm going to run Ungrim forward. Alright, we're getting into combat over here, so the Rune Lord needs to engage. He's actually almost close enough for me to just pop his buff right now. Alright, so we have the one unit of melee Night Goblins is on this side. Sorry I'm pausing so much. This is a very important battle, though. If this goes awry, we are in real bad shape. And if it doesn't, we're in real good shape. Get him close enough. As soon as we see those guys light up, there it is. you guys need to actually get through. Engage on the flanks. But this front's going to go very well for us for a little while until everything joins in. So we got to try to make the best of this time. Okay, we still have biggins running forward. Let's retarget the catapults on the ranged at this point. Try to wear them down as quickly as possible. These guys are actually in really bad shape. Let's see if we can make that worse. And you are going to try to get around on the flank of these boys. Actually, you should try to engage here. You try to engage here. You guys definitely just go straight for that. I think this is good. I think we're in a good place. His shield's ability is just a self buff. We don't need to worry about that unless he's actively getting his butt handed to him. I would love to get Ungrim through these guys, because first of all, their ranged units will panic as he approaches, and secondly, of course, if we can take Ornery Backslider, that's really great for us. Get him. Yeah, you can see they're cracking. Come on, get close. Alright, pop the buff. We'll take a couple of big pieces out of that guy. We will retarget so that we're not shooting artillery directly at our lord. Try to get rid of that dude as quickly as possible. You guys start firing into these. Where's the place that I'm going to be able to deploy our ranged attacks to best use on this side? This unit of Slayers is actually going to kind of get their asses handed to them, so maybe we can fire over them with the Quarrelers, and then these guys can help finish off this unit of Biggins. These are the ones that took a lot of catapult damage on the way in, so we can get them down pretty quickly. You need to actually engage. Unfortunately, our flanking maneuver got a little screwed up over here by the fact that there's just, like, really a lot more orcs on this side than there are dwarves. We could maybe devote a catapult to this side. Like, this is maybe a little dangerous, but honestly, let's see if we can just, you know, drop some rocks on the back rank. We might be able to get this. Alright, so our lord's doing the thing over here. They're turning as quickly as they can. We gotta keep an eye on this. Make sure we're popping this ability on cooldown. Alright, start working on those guys. Okay, the rocks are getting in. That's working. As expected, Ungrim is doing a fine job at that thing that he does to Ornery Backslider every time they meet. Ungrim, don't get distracted. Charge. Alright, keep that armor buff up as much as possible. This is going terribly. Alright, we're not going to be able to catch him. He's faster than I am, so we're just going to have Ungrim fall back and participate in combat here. He'll get brave and want to come back and fight us again, and we will, at that time, we will finish him. Alright, let's target this group. Put some rocks into that big bunch of enemies. It looks like we are losing this front. It's not super bad, but it's not good. This side, we're actually losing everywhere. Yep, we're just losing everywhere. Okay. Well, we gotta figure it out. Stop this. Our missile unit, or our Quarrelers are probably sufficient. We should keep shooting the biggins with our Thunderers. Okay, he's got his wits back about him. He thinks he can stand and fight. Let's get in there and finish him off. That will be very helpful. Because, you know, as soon as he goes down, you know what's going to happen to their morale. We've seen it many times before.
Nothing can stop us.
No, don't get tied up. Yeah, he's getting stuck on those guys. They're not letting him through. There you go. One more of those and he's done for. So, like, make that happen. Okay. There we go. Enemy Lord is down. They're withstanding the artillery fire, but only barely. You can see their morale bars are starting to look pretty bad. Let's fire into the back of this group. You guys need to probably... We can probably do the best work by firing on the boys, I think. And you guys need to turn this way and fire into that flank. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of wavering. We're taking a lot of damage, but we're doing a lot of damage. And we're scaring them, which is more important. Where's our Rune Lord? Pop that. Is he in there mixing it up? Yeah, he's getting his swings in. Okay, some small amount of missing happening there. Hopefully our artillery can dial that in, because if they can land a couple of rocks, yeah, like that, we kind of hit some doors with that one, but you know what I mean. Stuff like that is pretty good. I see a lot of wavering. Really, this is the only place where their morale's holding at all, and that's going to become less and less true as these units start to bail out. Ungrim is keeping all of their range tied up, and also this unit of Biggins. Doing some good work. Yeah, alright. Plus 22% damage resistance. He is now tanking this unit of Biggins, it looks like, so give him that damage resist. Oh, the Quarreller's out of ammo. Okay, get in there. We're actually winning this front. Some of our warriors are giving up, which is a shame. In our moment of glory. Okay, we got some of the Night Goblin archers are permanently retreating. Actually, all the way broken. See, Slayers have the common decency to just die and not run away and screw up everybody else's morale. Alright, Dwarf Ball, go! Ungrim's doing some fine work out here. Now, these guys are not in a particularly... Like, these guys will successfully retreat when they break. They will still have army left. So we're not going to completely annihilate this group the way we have some others, but it's a pretty good position. I think we can probably refocus all of the catapults in this direction. Yeah, we're really, really close to breaking them. The Thunderers will intercept these boys. Actually, I'm going to have a unit of Orc Warriors get on this, or Dwarf Warriors get on that as well. See, we're seeing more and more of them permanently rout. There it is. They all just broke. Okay, that was bloody, but it's a victory. That's going to satisfy one grudge and get us close to satisfying another, and I think we have enough movement left that we can just fall back into the city immediately, so they're not even really going to be able to take any revenge on us. The enemy has cost us dearly, but to be perfectly honest, I think we fought a superior force here, and we got through it. 222 kills for one of the Grudge Thrower units, 142 for the other. Immediate XP promotion there. Excellent. Our ranged units are starting to get some really, really good promotions going. Ungrim himself only had 65. That's embarrassing. Yeah, a guy called the Slayer King. You'd expect to see triple digits all the time. That's all right. He has to wander deep into the enemy ranks and fight the tough guys himself. I guess it's appropriate to his oath, though. We did completely lose most of our Slayers there, so we're going to have to do quite a bit of rehiring. The good news is we're no longer paying these guys, so we will have some money. Also, okay, 568 gold, that's something. We really did some good damage here. And actually, no, we should definitely pursue them, right? Because our Thunderers and our Quarrelers are both almost at full, and the Catapults are at full, and they'll all have completely full ammunition for the next battle. So we should just finish this stack. Provided that they don't run too far away for us to do that.
Aye, I'll move.
Alright, more money for the treasury. And we've become a confident attacker. +2 leadership for his whole army when attacking, and his bonus leadership aura size is greater as well. And as you can see, though, what this is meant to show us is that there are multiple ranks of this attack, or this trait, that can be gained by continuing to win in offensive battles.
The Slayer in me.
Yeah, they're close enough. We gotta finish them, right?
My command is attack.
We definitely don't press auto-resolve. I can be taught. I do learn. We should be able to really crush them here, because we're going to be able to resolve a lot of this before they even get into melee range with us. So when an army loses its commander, loses its lord, a new random lord is put in place, because they have to have an army has to have a lord. So that guy's going to be at full health, but the rest of their units are completely shredded. So let's do this in a place where we don't have line of sight blockers directly in front of us. Okay. We could take this back even a little bit more. I want to make sure that they are in firing range, but they have to run as far as possible to stop us from shooting them. And then we're going to do basically exactly the same thing we did last time. Nice long firing lines. And I know that our warriors are not really in good shape. We have 1 unit of slayers. We're going to try to engage in very, very little melee here. So let's make sure we pick some reasonable targets. Oh no, okay. One of the units of Biggins became the boss unit. I'm not actually even going to target, maybe? Here's what we'll do. We'll target one of them just sort of on this side middle, one of them on that side middle. And you guys are in guard mode. Do not move. Okay. The fire starts. They got to come toward us. Or I guess they could try to run away, but we can roll the catapults forward if they do that. Feels to me like they're in a pretty bad spot here. I think they take morale damage faster when their unit size is lowered like this, when there are fewer figures left. Maybe that's not true. They certainly are not really depleting very quickly. But my point was, I don't expect most of these units to actually make it to us. Got some unfortunate misses from the catapults. I imagine that operating a catapult, hitting a moving target at that distance, is actually extremely difficult. It's impressive that we're hitting as much as we are. Alright, so yeah, they're pretty shredded as they approach, and then, like, this unit is actually pretty much dead. I think this is the only guy left. And they're about to start taking ranged fire from our other ranged units. They need to get some more ranged options. Oh, that looked like a really good shot. If that had hit dead center there, it would have, yeah, like that. Would have done some considerable damage. And here come the guns and the arrows. A lot of our battles are going to look like this from now on as we develop more and more ranged tech. All right, focus on the Night Goblin archers. Just take them down quickly. Nobody is moving. Everybody, guard mode. Guard mode. There's a button here that makes them resistant to moving at all, isn't there? No, I guess not. For real, just fire. Stop walking forward. I don't know what they are doing. Let's move forward a little bit. Obviously, it would be really great if we could avoid us doing much melee combat here. I'm gonna have Ungrim run forward a lot, though. He can take it. He can get in there and mix it up with him right now. So you're seeing wavering already. let's pop this thing. We're never going to have a better moment for it. And you guys close in. I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't even have to swing any axes this time, but it looks like we're not quite that good at ranged combat yet. This is probably only a one unit thing. Alright, I think this should be fairly quick. Because again, we're gonna see a lot of morale damage here as they get flanked here. You can see that white bar shrinking rapidly. I like the fact that they yell "satisfy the grudge." I wonder if that's actually like, if the game is actually keeping track of the fact that we have a grudge involving this force, or if dwarf warriors just yell "satisfy the grudge" all the time because they assume there's always a grudge involved. Okay. If we had hit auto-resolve on that, I bet it would have killed a bunch of our units. How did that actually turn out? We lost 9 to their 233? Yeah, not bad. This unit of Slayers is actually starting to acquire some XP. This is, like, it's going to be tough for us to level up Slayers. I think I talked about this earlier. It's just, they just die too easily. But we can probably get some buildings going, and I bet the Slayer Shrine does this. We can get some buildings going that let us recruit them at a higher level, so at least the constant turnover won't always be level 1s. Alright, obviously, no sense releasing orc captives. That's not going to go well for us with all the other factions. We've acquired a luck stone. Okay. 10% extra physical resistance on our suicide lord. Sounds pretty alright.
I must fulfill my Slayer oath.
Huh, they got to retreat again. I'm pretty sure that that's not... I thought you were only allowed to flee from battle twice in a single turn. Huh. Well, we did it. We won 3 battles against the race. We've also acquired an Archivist. 10% extra research rate. That's fantastic. Oh, 2 of them. 1 for each of our characters. And we finally got it. So every 60 seconds we'll be able to do this AoE damage burst. Only 4 times per battle, but still. That's a lot of extra damage per battle. And Ungrim gets to become Iron-Willed. So his personal replenishment rate has gone way up. We can't actually pursue them enough to finish them off, so I guess we just fall back. And we fall back as far as possible, so as not to get murdered by a reinforcement army that might be over here. But on the whole, I think things are going very well. So we have 3,800 gold, and quite a bit of income now that we're not paying all of those Slayers anymore. Yeah, you can see Ungrim's replenishment rate is such that he will probably full heal after almost every battle now, which is just fantastic. What do we want to actually spend this gold on? We could upgrade the clan barracks, which will allow us to hire more quarrelers, because right now, like, if we were to lose our ranged units, that would be it. We don't have the ability to hire anymore. So that's definitely worth thinking about. I guess the question is, would I rather try to save up for a gunsmith's forge to make thunderers and cannons available? And I think the answer to that question is no, because this is 5,000 gold. Oh, this is only 1,700. Yeah, let's get this going. Let's get access to more quarrelers. We can upgrade our money-making building as well. Spend 1,100 to get an extra 100 per turn out of it. That's probably not a good idea right now. We're going to need to spend money to start recruiting again next turn when we make it back to Nashrak's lair. But you'll notice our public order is not totally in the toilet, even without our character actually in the settlement here. I think things are going really well. Let's pick up Autonomy of the Holds, not because it's good, but because it is a prerequisite for Oaths of Loyalty. We're really close to having our public order actually totally under control. And I think with that, we are done with the turn, right? The only thing we have left is we got to take back Khazad Urkulaz, and honestly, the reward for this is pretty poor. You know, at 134 Oath Gold, do we want to make any more equipment?
Slayer King.
Let's see. We don't have any enchanted items, right? Yeah, the Luckstone is a talisman, not an enchanted item. So we could get a Slayer's Belt for another 5% physical resist. Ungrim doesn't really need a miner's drinking horn. His leadership is just fine. Okay, maybe we're better off making a weapon for the other guy. Does the Rune Master have a weapon? He does not. He just has his shield. Yeah, let's make him a weapon. So he's got, what was that? 300 something weapon power, right? 320? So on him, this is a little bit less impressive. I think it's still better than Miner's Pickaxe, though. It is nice to deal bonus damage versus infantry, but yeah, the math on this is just way better. Like, weirdly better. Way better to the point that I wonder if there's maybe some mistake being made there. Okay, Ranger's Hammers for everyone. And what else? Do we want to build something else? It seems like we're actually going to have a pretty good flow of Oath Gold here. We could create a Slayer's Ring. Ward save is just all types of damage reduced. So this just makes him take 4% less damage in total. That's not amazing. He's got a piece of armor that I'm okay with him having. Hey, you know what? Let's save the rest of the Oath Gold for now. It is a shame that we couldn't actually finish them off. I thought the rules were that on an army's second battle lost in a turn, they would not retreat anymore. They would just be eliminated. I guess it doesn't really matter. That army's effectively eliminated, but it's still annoying. So it's probably going to be a couple of turns before we can push up and threaten Khazad-Urkalaz, which is really bad news for us considering how the vampire wars are going. But we got to replenish. Hopefully, the performance of our catapults here has justified the path I chose to go with our advancement. Catapults are really, really good. Siege weapons are just really, really good. The bloody spears are starting to sniff around. That makes me nervous. We gotta wrap up this red-eye thing quickly. They're still showing as being more powerful than we are, which means that they probably have a full stack somewhere in here, and maybe even another army? I guess our army is probably being calculated as being pretty weak due to the extremely damaged state of all of our units. So probably they just have one more stack. But I think it's going to be the case that they always have 2 stacks to our 1. Again, just due to the extra resources that the high-level AI gets. Okay, we've got a quest. Dark clouds have enveloped the accursed province of Sylvania. Such a spectacle has not been seen since Count Manfred von Karstein, the vampire lord of that realm, was last vanquished. Now reports reach Ungrim of sinister, black-robed old men roaming the high peaks. He suspects that death has regained mastery of Sylvania, and the interlopers herald the spread of its corruption to neighboring regions. The Slayer King will need to act in order to protect his people. So this is the first step toward one of our legendary items. Also, a celebration! One of the oldest entries in this Dwarfhold's Book of Grudges has been struck out. A great feast is held. That's actually excellent for us. So if we pop in here, you can see there are 3 legendary items that this character gets, and we'll get the quest for this one when he hits level 13, the quest for this one at 18. And we've just opened up the quest for the Slayer Crown, which will give us recruit rank +1 for Slayer units, and then just a whole bunch of really great combat stats, and +5 public order in his province, which is also pretty good. So yeah, we'd like to get that, but Jufbar's down here, and we don't really have a character to spare. What we could do is have the Runesmith jump out of the army and run down this way, but I think now that the Runesmith has that damage ability, he's actually more important than he has ever been. Right, so we'll park in here, take advantage of the enhanced replenishment rate. And how many turns are we from... Okay, next turn we'll be able to recruit some more Quarrelers. We might well do that.
Yes.
Right now, let's get 3 units of... Honestly, I think we're probably going for Slayers again here. They're a little bit expensive, and we don't need our army to be like half Slayers like it was before. They really are mostly a flanking unit. We don't want them to be in face-to-face combat with almost anything. But 3 of them will mean we're still at more warrior units than we are Slayer units. I think this is fine. And then next turn we can make some decisions about how many quarrelers we want in the army, and I'm feeling better. Our army's going to be a little bit more technically sound against these biggins. And I think, unfortunately, though, that is going to have to be it for us for today. Do we want to spend any gold upgrading anything? No, we definitely don't want to try to upgrade this right now. We need this money for recruitment. Okay. That is, in fact, going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time. Maybe we can make some kind of progress against the Red Eye. I know I keep saying that, but someday it'll come true. And we'll see you then.